So come to a comfortable seat. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Yes, good. Glad to hear it. Start to settle in and arrive. There's no place else you need to be. So gently close your eyes if that's comfortable, or soften your gaze. Root your sit bones into the floor. Rise through the crown of the head. Get a little taller in the spine, really lengthening. Notice even feel from your hips up to your ribs and see if you can make that part of you a little bit longer. And then from your ribs up to your shoulders, and from your shoulders through the neck into the head. And then drop your head, drop your chin to your chest. And then let your left ear come to left shoulder. And then back to chin to chest. Right ear to right shoulder. And back chin to chest and over to the other side. And just continuing with your breath. Inhaling to one side, exhaling to the other. So this month, I'm planning to focus on the stories of yoga. And the first story that I wanted to tell is the one of the warrior pose. Now, come back to center, your head looking forward, and then look up at the ceiling, and then look down over your left shoulder. And then as if you're looking at a rainbow end to end, look up over your head and to your right shoulder, and going back and forth with the rhythm of your breath. So I wanted to tell stories of the poses. And the first one that I wanted to tell was about warrior, which in yin yoga makes no sense at all because we don't do warrior poses. And yet it's such a classic pose in yoga. I thought I'd do it anyway. So come back to center, head facing forward. And with your inhale, raise your arms up overhead. This would be a warrior one. And then exhale your arms to a T. Look over your right shoulder, looking over your right fingertips. This would be warrior two. Bring your arms forward as you exhale, warrior three. Bring them back, inhale, bring your hands back to warrior two. Flip your right palm, bring it up to the ceiling as you go to the side. This is peaceful warrior. Come back up, inhale back up to warrior two. Then exhale your arms behind you. Clasp your hands if you can, otherwise just reach back. And then inhale, open your heart to the ceiling. Exhale, come forward a little or a lot, whatever feels good in your body. And then inhale your way back up. Exhale, unclasp your hands. And then let's switch our legs, put the awkward foot in front. Inhale, your arms up overhead. Exhale, look over your left shoulder at your fingertips. Inhale, bring your arms forward, warrior three. Exhale, back to warrior two, looking over your left shoulder. Flip your right palm and let's go over to the side, peaceful warrior. And then back up to center. And then arms come behind you, clasp your hands. Inhale, open your heart, and exhale forward. Inhale all the way back up and unclasp your hands. And just sit up nice and tall for a moment. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. We are going to start our long poses on our backs today. But take your blanket and your choice actually. We'll do some supported bridges, which of course we've done before. You can either have it not too high, or if you like a little bit more back bend, you can maybe either add another blanket or another pillow on top, or maybe fold your blanket in half again. So put it to the side and we'll come to our backs and then we'll put it under our sacrum. So very gently today, coming all the way to your back. And bring your feet so they're just beyond your glutes. So you can just touch them with your fingertips. And as you inhale, raise your hips to the sky, grab your blanket and bring it underneath your sacrum. And let your sacrum fall onto your blanket. And make sure it feels centered. Sometimes the blanket fold isn't perfect, so get to a point where you feel centered. And then extend your legs long. And breathe here. Then bring your right knee into your chest. Clasp your hands around your knee. We're just pulling our knee towards us. And if your left foot comes off the floor, that's completely fine. Or if it's on the floor, that's completely fine. We'll just stay here in this half apanasana, as they call it, wind release pose for a little. Just allowing yourself to breathe here. See if you can lengthen your neck a little bit. Maybe your chin comes ever so slightly towards your chest, just a little, just so you get that length in your neck. So many of the poses in yoga, in Hatha yoga, from all types of yoga really, come from myths, or the names of them come from myths from the Hindu tradition. So many thousands of years old. And the story of the warrior pose is exactly that. It comes from a legend that goes something like this. The Lord of the universe is Lord Shiva, and he married a woman named Sita, but much against Sita's father's wishes. He really didn't want them to get married. We're going to change this pose a little. You can either stay where you are, or you can come to kind of a half happy baby. So you can either let the and pull your leg into the side and hold on behind your thigh, or maybe you reach to the outside of your right foot with your right hand. Maybe the left hand comes over to the left to keep you from falling over. Welcome to stay where we were, or come to this, which we'll stay in for another. Shiva, the story continues. Shiva is married to Sita against the wishes of her father, Daksha. Now you have to wonder about Daksha, of course, because who's going to go against the Lord of the universe? But so it is. So see if your body is opening up at all. Can your knee come a little bit closer to your armpit here? You're going to have a happy baby. You might notice that your foot comes up a little more off the floor, and that's perfectly okay. I'm just breathing here for a moment. Now let go of that leg. Let both of your legs come along. And you may need to bend your feet and lift your hips just to readjust your blanket, which we have right under the sacrum. Make sure it's still centered. And then extend your legs long. Lift your arms up and overhead in those warrior one arms that we were doing earlier. And just stretch and reach here. Reach through your fingertips. Reach through your toes. Get nice and long, opening up in the body. And then we'll come to the other side. So bring your left knee into your chest. Just clasping your hands around your shin or your knee and pulling that in towards your chest. And letting your right foot either come off the floor or rest on the floor, whatever feels right in your body. So Daksha throws a huge festival and he snubs Shiva and Sita and doesn't invite them to this big party. But Sita is a little upset about this. And so she goes to the party anyway and has a great big argument with her father. And eventually she gets so mad. Actually, the story is told in many different ways, but this was one way that I read. That she sits down, she meditates, she turns herself on fire and turns to ashes. Clearly, her father is upset, but nobody is as upset as her husband. What a perfect time to go to a half happy baby, right? So you can either stay here where we are in this half Apanasana pose, or you can hold on behind with your left hand behind your left thigh, or reach to the outside of your left foot. Maybe reach your right arm to the side, wherever it helps you not fall over to the left. So just pulling gently that, if you're in this half happy baby, pulling your left knee into your left armpit. So no one is as upset as Lord Shiva about his wife taking her life. So he conjures up a warrior who is named Virabhadra. And he sends Virabhadra to this party to revenge his wife's death. And so he cuts a lock of his hair, which is what he conjures Virabhadra with. And Virabhadra through the earth just appears from the ground at this party. And then he finds the father and basically slays the father. And then, of course, Shiva feels so bad about this that he promises peace and humbles himself and brings everyone back to life. That's one version of the story, anyway. Let's extend our left leg long and reach your feet out like a star and your arms out like a star, and reach and stretch in all directions. Reach, reach, reach. Spread your fingers really wide. Spread your toes. Push through your heels. See if you can get a little bit longer. And then bring your hands back alongside your hips. Bend your legs. Bend your knees. And then lift your hips up towards the sky. Move your blanket over to the side. And then bring your hips back to the floor. And then bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees come out to the side. Reclined butterfly. And your arms can be either alongside your body or out to the sides, either way, whatever feels comfortable to you. And just coming to breathe here. One of the things that always surprised me in yoga is that there were so many warrior poses in such a peaceful practice of yoga. Why are there all these warriors? And that's how it came to be that I wanted to know what the story was. And so a little later on, when we're sitting up, I'll show you what each of those warrior poses look like and how they flow through the story from warrior one, where Virabhadra comes through the earth to Warrior Two, where he points out Daksha and says, you are the cause of this trouble. And Warrior Three, where he slays Daksha. And then Peaceful Warrior and Humble Warrior, where Shiva regrets what he's done and pledges peace and humility. Maybe using your hands, bring your knees back to center, and then let your knees knock together as your feet widen, maybe towards the edge of your mat if you're using a mat. Just letting your knees knock together here for a moment. And then spreading your knees, let your knees windshield wiper side to side. And then come back to center, and we'll bring our knees into our chest. Let's push them around in a big circle a couple of times. And then go the other direction. And then we'll come to happy baby. So with full happy baby, with both knees coming towards your armpits, either holding on behind your thighs or maybe reaching out to the sides of each of your feet. And you can be still in your happy baby, or you can sway side to side, whatever suits you. And just take a moment to become aware of your breath here, not trying to change it, but just noticing. Is it long? Is it short? Is it smooth? Or is it ragged? Where is your body feeling your breath? In your belly, in your heart space, in your throat, in your nose. When we watch a baby sleep, or when I watch a baby sleep, sometimes I notice how their belly really rises and falls. With your next big inhale, let your belly rise. And exhale, let it fall. Inhale into the belly. Exhale out. One more time. Inhale and exhale. And then let go of your feet. Let your feet come back to the floor. And actually bring them into your knees again and start to roll back and forth so that you can come up to a seated position. And we'll come around here, come to hands and knees. And once you're with your hands and knees, let's do a couple cat cows just to open up our spine a bit. So inhale, look forward, let your belly drop, lift your tail. And then exhale, round in your spine. Inhale, looking forward, drop the belly. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale to cat. And then come back to a neutral spine. Now bring your left foot forward between your hands and maybe wiggle your back leg, your right leg back a little bit. We're coming to dragon pose. It's a low lunge. And we'll just stay here so you can rest on that front thigh, your left thigh with your shoulder, your chest. But opening up in the front of the right hip flexor here, in the front of the quadricep. If your floor is a little hard, you might want to put an extra blanket under your knee if that's bothering you at all. Make sure always to take care of your knees. Don't allow any discomfort at all. This is our dragon. And we'll just hold this for another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll change it just slightly. See if you can breathe into your belly like we were in our happy baby pose. And then bring your left hand onto your thigh and then your right hand onto your thigh. And we'll come to a little bit of a twisted dragon. So maybe bring your hands to your heart and then twist over to the left. Maybe your right elbow can rest on your thigh. Just twisting. And if your elbow doesn't come, that's okay. Just put your forearm, whatever reaches, or even just hold on with your hands, just twisting. And we'll just stay here really briefly. Briefly. What does briefly mean? 30 seconds or so. And then bring your hands back down to frame your left foot. Bring your left knee back to meet the right. And bring your body forward as if you're doing a plank from your knees. So keeping your body somewhat straight. And then on your next exhale, push back like you're coming to a child's pose. So bending your knees as much as they want to bend, or as much as you want to go. And inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And then just come back to neutral. And we'll bring the left foot forward between your hands, coming to dragon on the other side. So find what feels comfortable for you. Actually, did we do the other side? Sorry, I told you the wrong thing. So right foot comes forward. Right foot comes forward between your hands. Left foot goes back. You probably figured that out already. And just coming back as far as is comfortable for you. But really opening in that left hip flexor and in the front of the left quadricep. And breathing here, breathing into the belly. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. And out. And bring your right hand onto your thigh, left hand onto your thigh. Maybe hands come to heart, twist to the right. And then maybe your left elbow comes onto your thigh, or your forearm, or use your hands, whatever works in your body. It's totally fine. We're just trying to get a twist, right? Twists are really great for our internal organs, bringing blood flow to them. And we squish them up a little bit. Good for our digestion. And then bring your hands back down to frame your foot. Bring your right knee to meet the left. And just make some circles with your hips. Just small circles. And then go the other direction. And then we'll come to seated. Maybe take your blanket, well, not on such a high setting, but just an inch or two high, and sitting on the edge of your blanket to help you keep the natural curvature of your spine. And bring the soles of your feet together in butterfly. And today, maybe we'll just sit up nice and tall as we let our knees come out to the side. I thought I'd just show you this, the set of warrior poses that go in a Hatha flow while we're doing that. So the story that we were telling was Virabhadra, right? These poses are called Virabhadrasana. So warrior one is just our legs straight back, our hips are forward, and we raise up. So this is Virabhadra coming through the earth with his sword drawn. And then he sees Daksha and he says, you are the one that is causing all this trouble. And he brings his sword around and he chops off Daksha's head with warrior three. And then Shiva has this remorse, and we have a humble warrior, and we have a peaceful warrior. So all of those things come from the story of Virabhadra. So coming back to our butterfly was just more part of this story to give you a sense of where that comes from. So if you haven't been showing your feet a little bit of love here while you've been in butterfly, just maybe giving your feet a little massage in whatever way feels good. And then let's bring our feet out to the sides. Nice big wide straddle pose here. Sit up nice and tall. Really push your hands into the floor alongside your hips and open your heart space. Push through the heels of your feet, spread your toes. Breathe. Now bring your hands to your heart center. Twist over to the right. Bring your right hand to your hip. Bring your left elbow to your left thigh or knee or wherever it lands so that you can support your head. If your knee doesn't land on your leg, then bend your leg a little. Maybe stuff a little blanket under it. Give it support. But just make sure that you have some support so that you are twisting in the body and extending over the leg and supporting your head. Opening up in the side body. Beautiful. That's exactly it. And breathing and noticing how it's so much easier to breathe into your right lung than your left when you're in this pose. And then see if your body has opened up at all. Can you extend your elbow a little further down that leg? Maybe just a millimeter, or maybe not at all. Maybe you need to pull back a little bit. One of the key things that we're always looking for is if you feel pain, just pull right back out. What we're looking for is just sweet discomfort. It's a little awkward, it's a little unusual, but there's some sweetness there. And then come back to center, and we'll go to the other side. So sit up nice and tall and bring your hands to your heart. twist over to the left. Let your left hand come to your hip. Let your right elbow come down to your leg. Wherever it comes is fine. Just open in the heart. So we're twisting open, pulling that over, left shoulder back, but feeling comfortable. The head should not be struggling. We should be supporting the head. Nice. And you can always do that with your fingertips too, right? It doesn't have to be all the way down to your knuckles, but whatever works in your body. And breathing and seeing how it feels on this side of your body. Noticing how the breath might be a little bit different on this side. And just notice what are you feeling in your body right now? What are you feeling on the left side body? Maybe into the low back on the left side. What are you feeling on the right side body? Be really aware, staying in this present moment. And then push yourself all the way back up. Let's take a quick twist over to the side. And then go over to the other side. And then come back to center. Then we'll come back onto our backs. So if it feels good to you to roll out your spine, then do that. Otherwise, just come gently onto your back. And then bend the knees, soles of the feet on the floor. Bring your feet about as wide as your mat if you're using one, wider than your hips. Bring your arms out to a T, or warrior two arms. And then let your legs fall all the way to the left, or as far to the left as they'll go. And look over your right shoulder if that's comfortable. If it feels uncomfortable in your neck, just look up at the ceiling. And just we're opening up again in the front of that right quadricep, like we were doing in our dragon pose. Now notice in your body, are you holding some tension? Maybe maybe in that right glute or somewhere in the right leg. See if you can let go of that and just relax into the pose. Stop gripping. And bring your knees back up to center. And let's extend our legs for a moment, stretching a long full body stretch, arms overhead, reaching through the fingertips, pushing through the heels of the feet. And then we'll come to the other side. So bend your knees as wide as your mat, arms out to a T. Let your legs fall over to the right. Maybe the inside of your left knee comes to the floor, but maybe it doesn't. Mine doesn't. That's okay. Look over your left shoulder. And just notice how this side might be a little bit different than the other side. See if you can let go of gripping and tension. Just letting your body relax into this pose. Notice if you've started gripping again. So scan your body and just let go and release. And come back to center. Bring your knees into your chest. Give them a nice big squeeze. And then push them away with your hands. And bring them back into your chest. And push away. And pull them back in. Maybe rock from side to side. And we've come to Shavasana, our final resting pose. So if you would like to cover up with a blanket, you can do that. Lots of different options for Shavasana. If you want to roll up your blanket and put it under your knees or put it under your head. Find what feels good in your body. Typically, we have our feet a little wider than our hips. Arms can be on your belly, to the side, to the T, up at a star, whatever feels good to you. And once you've found your Shavasana pose, if you're wearing glasses, maybe take them off. Let your head rock from side to side. Take a nice big inhale through your mouth, big yawn. Exhale. Loosen your jaw. Let your shoulders release into the floor below you. Soften in the heart space and the belly. Release in your hips. Let your legs and your arms feel heavy. Scan through your body. See if there's any place where you're holding tension, and let that go. Take a nice big inhale. And exhale. And we'll stay here for a few minutes of stillness and silence. Bring your awareness back into your body. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and circle your wrists and your ankles. And take a full body stretch, reaching overhead and pushing through your heels, reaching through the fingertips. And then bend your knees and roll to the side. And then push yourself back up to seated. And then inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale to your heart. Inhale. And exhale to your forehead as a reminder of kind thoughts, to your lips for kind speech, and to your heart for kind intentions. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you feel good in your body. And I hope you'll join again.